plenty of seats if people need seats. There's some up here.
Daddy! Everyone take a seat. Daddy!
Baba, you got the phone?
All right, everybody, we're going to get started. Yeah, so there's chairs for people, so how about everybody grab a chair, please, even the kids. Do that. Okay, we're going to go ahead and start the... Hey guys, there's a lot of people requested that they be recorded because they weren't able to be here, so let's try to keep the noise levels a little down. Our Sundays. Okay, so before she gets here, we'll do a quick introduction. But first, we want to thank Emma, who's going to translate for us. We're going to have 2 mics in the front. So I know a lot of you understand Arabic, so we'll have her speak directly into the microphone in Arabic, and then Hibba will translate afterwards the English for us English speakers. So we're very, very excited today and pleased to have Samia Shuhada, which is Samia, Mother of the Martyrs. We're very, very happy to do that. I think it's very significant that we do it. And the reason is a couple reasons. The mission here at St. John Chrysostom's is to bring orthodoxy to American society, today's American current society, right? And what we don't get a lot of times is the true core of the church, which is the blood of the martyrs, learning that firsthand. So the ability to have somebody here who can speak to us firsthand is very important to us. And more than just the English language, we're also trying to bring the Coptic heritage with Coptic orthodoxy into the American society. So those two things together, having somebody who can give us an account of the life of the martyrs and the struggles. And the reason I say it's important is, and very significant to us, is I think twofold. And it's not because she's not here to give us the intent of today was not to give us a historical kind of storytelling time. That's not what we're trying to do here. It's really a lot more than that. And I think one is because, sure, in American society we have lots of issues, and turn on the news and you'll see right away all the things that happen here and the issues that we have. But I think one thing we take for granted, and one thing I could say, aside from a few times in history in America, we're free to practice our religion. We're free to believe in Jesus Christ without always being fearful of persecution, which is not the case in Egypt, unfortunately, nowadays, where the church really is built on the blood of the martyrs, and through the years, the martyrs have strengthened the church. And it's hard for us to understand when we hear, at least those of us that grew up here, what that really means. So having her here to explain that to us is amazing. And I think the second part of that is more on a personal level, is how does one, after tragedy and hardship and loss, which we all experience here, how do you continue with your faith in Jesus Christ? That's one. It's difficult. When that happens to us personally, we struggle sometimes. But now imagine when that struggle and that hardship is caused because of your very faith. And when I say caused, I mean you're being targeted because of your faith in Jesus Christ. And after a death happens, you still continue in your faith in Christ. And I think that's really the second part, the personal level, which is going to be very amazing to have her here. So quickly about her. Samia's here from Egypt. She's the eldest of 8 children. She's from Egypt and visiting her sister Selva, who's here as well, and there's her son George, who's visiting. So we're very, very happy to have them here, and thank you for coming. On May 26, 2017, so not even a year ago, there was a bus heading through Minya going to St. Samuel's Monastery in Egypt. And during that travel to the monastery, They were attacked by terrorists. The bus was stormed. I'll leave out a lot of details because I know a lot of children here, but it's very important that we have the children here to hear these accounts. The bus was stormed with terrorists, and 28 people were killed that day. More importantly, 28 were crowned, as we say in Orthodoxy, they were crowned with the crowns of martyrdom. Samia was on the bus, and she's known as the Shohada, which is to say the mother of the martyrs, because I won't get into all the bios just for her sake, but I will, out of their respect, you heard it during the liturgy, but we'll say their names today. Her husband, Mohsen Fehmi Morkos, was there. He reposed with the Lord. These are the names of the martyrs of her immediate family. Samak Mohsen Fehmi, he was 38, that was her son. Hani Mohsen Fehmi was 31, her son. Her grandson, 14 years old. Her granddaughter, Marmi Hani Mohsen, 4 years old, just 4 years old. Her nephew, Bashoy Ibrahim Adli, 24 years old. And her son's brother-in-law, Hani Adil Risk, 24 years old. So for those of you that are keeping count, that's 7. So imagine 7 of your immediate family members and witnessing all that. So unfortunately, I've seen the results of terrorism firsthand, and it's horrendous. But I can't even fathom having witnessed those and having my loved ones being part of those results. So we're very, very happy to have Samia and Shofta here. I'll stop talking because we want to hear from her. So please, without any further ado, we'll welcome Samia, the mother of the martyrs.
أنا سعيدة إن أنا وسطيكم وفرحانة إن أنا شفتكم.
I'm very happy to be around you and happy to get to see you all.
بركة عظيمة.
It's a great blessing.
جات فرصة إن أنا أجي وأشوفكم عشان جعل إن أنا أجي هنا يعني هي جات كده يعني ربنا أراد إن أنا أجي بيوم وليلة يعني.
God gave you the opportunity to come here overnight. It's not a planned or organized trip.
أنا قاعدة بقالي 8 سنين في شيكاغو.
I've been living in Chicago for 8 years.
أنا وجوزي.
Me and my husband.
طبعا بلادي في مصر سامح وهاني ونورة كلهم متجوزين.
My kids were in Egypt, Samia and Dora, and they were all married.
فطبعا جوزي كان بيتعب يعني ساعات ما جينا نتجوز.
My husband was having a hard time since we moved to the States.
عمل 3 مرات عمليات في القلب.
He had 3 heart surgeries.
آخر مرة قبل عيد القيامة فإحنا جعلنا نروح القدس يعني حجزنا وكده.
The last time was right before the resurrection feast, and we were scheduled to go to the Holy Land.
ففعلا حجزنا وخلاص يعني كان يوم السبت في شغله ويوم الاثنين هنسافر خلاص يعني.
So they had already booked the trip to visit the Holy Land, and it was on Monday.
يوم الاثنين 4. يوم الاثنين 4 اللي هو كان يوم الاثنين اللي احنا نسافر.
On February 4th, they were scheduled to fly to the Holy Land.
فاحنا كنا نسافر على البلد يعني مصر نقعد مع اولادنا 4 أيام وبعد كده نطلع مع رحلة على القدس انا وجوزي وكده.
Actually, I heard that was April 2nd.
فتعب يوم السبت الساعة 6.
So the Saturday
يوم قبل ما نسافر.
Saturday before the scheduled trip, her husband was not feeling well.
طبعا خدوا له اسعاف وكده.
The ambulance came and took him to the hospital.
فقالوا انت عندك ثقب في الرئة. كان الأكسجين خلاص.
He had a hole in his lungs. I'm not sure if this is the right term. Yeah. And he was not getting enough oxygen at this point.
طبعا الدكتور قال له ما ينفعش ان هو ياخد بنج عشان ما فيش وقت ان هو ياخد بنج.
So he didn't have enough time to even take anesthesia at this point.
ففتحوا له من غير بنج هنا من غير بين الضلوع هنا.
So they went into surgery and they opened like by the side of his ribs without going under.
ركبوا له جهاز وقال الجهاز ده يقعد 5 أيام.
They put him in some sort of a machine that would be inside for about 5 days.
بس اللي قالك لو ما استجابش هنعمل عملية جراحية.
And that if he wasn't responding to that treatment, they will have to go into surgery.
طبعا كان بيشرب سجاير زمان ففيه حتة مهارية في الرئة.
And he used to be a smoker in the past, so it affected his lungs.
فما نفعش إن هو يعني جهاز مع العلاج يستمر يعني.
So he didn't respond well to the treatment.
فعملنا عملية جراحية ونشكر ربنا تعالج قعدنا شهر تاني في أمريكا.
He went through the surgery and everything went well, thank God, and he spent another month in the United States.
فهو قال احنا ننزل بقى مصر وقدم هو صحي يعني فخلاص القدس راح منا قلت خلاص مش مشكلة فداك والدنيا دي.
So they couldn't make it to the trip to the Holy Land, but they were thankful still, and they decided to still go to Egypt afterwards.
نزلنا مصر وطبعا مع أولادنا وكده فقال لهم احنا نطلع رحلة دير الأنبا أنطونيوس والأنبا بولا في الأول يعني.
So when they went to Egypt, they went on a trip to the Monastery of St. Anthony and St. Paul with their kids.
فاخواتي قالوا له لا يا محسن انت تعبان ما ينفعش تروح الاماكن البعيده دي شوف دير قريب.
So
دير قريب اخواتي
Her siblings asked her husband not to go because it was a far trip and to pick a closer monastery instead.
فقال لهم خلاص هنروح دير الانبا صمويل لان احنا كل ما بننزل بنروح يعني على طول.
So they decided to go to St. Samuel Monastery because it was closer first of all, and then every time they visit Egypt, that's the monastery that they decide to go to.
طبعا لمينا طبعا ولاد مراتات وولادي قالوا لامهاتهم واهاليهم يعني واخواتي طبعا اللي راح واللي ما راحش وماشيين في امانه الله يعني.
They gathered most of the family from her side. Some came and some weren't able to, and from her من ناحية جوز حضرتك.
جوزي سيدنا من بني مزار 8 من بني مزار اللي هم نسايب هاني ابني.
8 from her family members from her son's side. From a town called Beni Mazar were on the trip as well.
طبعا ماشيين بالرنم وفرحانين وكده فمشينا على المداء الاتوبيس بقى يعطل قعد 4 مرات وهو يعطل طريق يعني.
So they were singing hymns and on their way in the bus, and as they started the route towards the monastery, the bus stopped working 4 times.
بس السواق بيقول له يا عم محسن طب تعال نرجع نروح ابونا عبد المسيح قالوا لا احنا هنروح الانبا صمويل.
Since the bus kept stopping, so they asked them to go to a different monastery which was closer out the Masih and the Nahar. And but the driver insisted to say we're going to St. Samuel's Monastery.
فطبعا سامح ابني كان قاعد ورا فجه قدام طبعا لما الباص بيبوظ وكده فبيساعد السواق يعني في الموتور ويشغلوا له وكده.
Her son Samia was sitting all the way in the back, but since the bus kept breaking and stopping, so he went up to the front to help the driver fix the engine and look at it.
فبصينا ما لقينا حاجه كده ضربت بدخان كده فاحنا ما كناش عارفين كنا مضللين بالستاير وكده.
They had their curtains closed, but all of a sudden they started seeing smoke.
لما ضرب دخان فيعني بقينا نكح كلنا مش عارفين حاجه يعني وسامح ابني وش للرحله كده.
Everyone started coughing and they didn't know what was going on, and her son was looking towards the people in the bus.
فهو نزل بيفتح يعني عايز ينقذنا فتح باب الباص.
So he was trying to help out and open the door bus.
فهو لقاهم قدامه وراح قافل علينا الباص. لا قافل الباب. سامح ابني لما نزل لقاهم قدامه فهو نزل راح قافل على ما شافهم راح قافل علينا بسرعه.
So when he stepped outside of the door, he saw all the terrorists. So what he did is he closed the door on everyone in the bus.
بس طبعا كانوا بيجبروا معاه وطبعا رفع لهم ايده كده ووراهم الصليب وكده فراحوا ضربوه ده اول واحد يعني.
He showed them that he has the cross on his wrist, and they instantly killed him.
فابتدى الضرب بقى يعني حوالين الباص من بره.
They started shooting all around the bus.
طبعا اخو مرض هاني ابني جنبينا برضو مرض سامح ضربوه برضو. هاني عنده 24 سنة برضو.
They also killed
اخو مرض سامح ابني برضو.
the brother.
هاني عادل رزق.
Hani Adariz was the brother of Samah's wife.
طبعا هاني ابني ورا معنا سايبه، وبشوي ابن اخويا برضو 22 سنة.
Bishoy as well was 22 years old.
طبعا مرفي كانت جنبية. مرفي بنت هاني ال4 سنين.
Marvi, the son of Hani, was sitting right to Tunt, and she was 4
فهي
years old.
قبل ما يحصل ده كانت بتروح على مامتها وترجع عليا تقول حللي شعري، وتقول لمامتها حللي شعري عشان البس فستان ابيض.
So as before this what had happened, the little girl kept running back and forth to Tunt and to her mom, asking her to put her hair down so that she can wear the white dress.
فهي من عادتها وهي بتلعب مع اختها في البيت تقول لها انا طماف قريني.
She used to play with her siblings at home, and she would always say, "I'm Tamavarini."
تقول لباباها تقول له انا بطماف قريني واروح الدير. يقول لها طب هتسيبيني يا مرفي؟ تقول له لا يا بابا انا هاخدك معايا.
She used to tell her dad all the time that I am Tamavarini, I'm gonna go to the monastery, and he would tell her, well, you're gonna leave me alone, and she would reply back and say, no, I'm gonna take you with me there.
طبعا نورا بنتي معاها بنتين مارينا وبسنت، وبشير اللي هو ثالثة اعدادي اللي هو راح السما ده.
Her daughter had 3 kids.
بشوي
Bishoy,
اللي راح السما ثالثة اعدادي،
here goes in the Lord, and
ومارينا وبسنت.
Marina and Basant were the other 2.
فبشوي ده كان يعني كان ملاك على الارض فعلا.
Bishoy was an angel on earth.
كان في الكنيسة بيت قبلها بأسبوع، كان عيد مش عارفة يعني حد من القديسين، فنعس في الهيكل.
So a week before there was a feast of one of the saints, and he was at church and he fell asleep in the altar.
فالخادم بتاعه بيقول له قوم يا بشوي، قال له أنا فاق، قال له أنت فين يا بشوي؟ أنت في الكنيسة.
So his servant was waking him up and telling him to get up, you're at church.
قال له لا ده أنا المسيح جاني وحطيت الإكليل الشوك.
So he told him, no, Jesus came to me and he was wearing the crown of thorns.
وبيطبطب عليه ويقول لي أنت حبيبي يا بشوي.
And he was patting me on the back and was telling me that I love you, Bishoy. You're in my heart, basically.
بس طبعا بعد ما ضربوا خلصوا وشافوا عربية تانية جاية ورا.
So after they were shooting the bus, they started seeing another car approaching from the back.
فراحوا خلصوا عليهم ورجعوا لنا تاني.
So there was another car.
رجعوا لنا تاني البركة.
There was another car, like probably a family that was coming to visit the monastery as well. So they went to shoot them all. They killed everyone in their car and then they went back to the bus.
طبعا مرة هاني مرة سامح ابني معاها مينا 9 سنين. ابن سامح معاه فام ومينا.
Samah, her son, had two sons. Mina,
8 سنين و9 سنين.
8 years and 9 years old.
فطبعا فام كان منصاب ورا، ما نعرفش ان هو عايش او ميت، ما كناش عارفين.
Fam was injured in the back of the bus and they didn't know if he was alive or not.
فمينا طبعا هي خدته في حضنها وقاعدة على العتبة بتاع الباص، واحنا كلنا جنب بعض كده.
She took Mina, her son, in her lap and she was sitting by the front of the bus.
فطبعا واحد جاي بيشد منها من الباب، يعني ما عرفوش يفتح الباب بعد سامح ابني ما قفله.
They couldn't open the door after her son closed it, so they were trying to pull the son.
رغم الباب اللي هو جنب جوزي مفتوح، بس يعني ربنا انا يعني تخيلت حاجه قلت ازاي يا رب انت يعني انت عظيم كده ومعانا فعلا، والباب ما اتفتحش، والباب اللي هو عند السواق مفتوح اللي هو جنب جوزي.
She was saying that The door right next to her, where her husband was sitting, was open the whole time, but for some reason the terrorists didn't.
فهم كان تركيزهم كله في الباب اللي هو
They were paying all their
قدامنا.
attention to the door on the side by the driver where it was closed, where usually everyone will go up and down through that door, and it was closed, and they didn't pay attention that the other door was open on the.
فهو بيشد منها الولد بكل هاتي الولد قالت له حرام عليك سيبولي ما بقاليش غيره.
He was trying to take the kid away from her and keeps on to me the child, and she's like, no, please, this is the only one I have left.
فاحنا بصينا في عز ده كله، بصيت انا شايفه واحد عينيه خضرة، بس انا شايفه مش شايفه غير عينيه بس. انا شايفه واحد عينيه خضرة.
She only saw someone with green eyes, but that's the only thing she saw.
بس اللي شايفه اكتر سهام ومارينا حفيدتي.
The ones who saw him the most was Sam and Marina, her granddaughter.
فهو جرب يمها، قال لها ما تخافيش، ما تدهمش الولد، لو خدوه هيموتوه، ونعازوا الدهب او فلوس او اي حاجه لجحها لهم، ما تخافيش.
So the person with the green eyes, he told her, don't be afraid, don't give them the child, because if they take him, they will kill him. If they ask for any money or gold, just give it to them.
فرجع لورا، فالراجل فعلا جاب يقول لها هاتي الذهب والموبايلات اللي معاكم.
So he really asked her to give all the gold and money to them.
فطبعا لجحنا لهم الحاجه دي، وبقى يضربوا وجابوا بنزين رشوا حوالين الباص.
So they gave them all their money and gold, and they were still.
كانوا بيضربوا حوالين الباص وجابوا بنزين رشوه كده بجركن.
So they started still shooting around the bus, and then they brought gas and poured it all around the bus.
طبعا لجحنا لهم وبقى يضربوا ويجروا، فاحنا ما زلنا بنصلي يعني ما وقفناش.
They were shooting, they would shoot for some time and then run away and then come back, and at that time everyone was still praying. They never ceased to stop praying.
فانا بقى بتكلم مع ربنا بقول له طب ازاي يا رب القديسين اللي احنا بنناديها هي اللي بيجروا وراهم ولا انت ولا ايه بالظبط؟ يعني احنا لا حول ولا قوه، كلنا منصابين كلنا.
Everyone was injured, and she was thinking, God, what's happening? Is it all the saints that we're praying for? Are they coming and scaring them away? And that's why they run away.
يعني آخر واحد انضرب بشوي ابن نورة بنتي.
The last one that was shot was Bishoy, her daughter's Nora's son. Was her name?
هي قالت لي خلاص بشوي راح السما يا ماما، قلت لها راح يا بنت، اشكر ربنا.
She was saying, her daughter was telling her, it's over, Mom, Bishoy went to heaven, and she told her, yes, he did, thank God.
فطبعا هم مشيوا، بعد ما مشوا بس انا لقيت السواق فاق وجوزي يعني بيجد كده.
After they left, we saw the driver starting to regain conscious, and her husband was sounding like in pain.
فانا بقول له خلاص اولادك كلهم راحوا السما.
So she told her husband that all your kids went to heaven.
فلما من كتر التعب اللي هو فيه فهو راح وقع مني من باب الباص.
He was really tired and a lot of pain, and he ended up falling from the door next to him that was open out of the bus.
فأنا نزلت وراه.
So she went after him. She went down.
رغم ان انا كنت ضعيفة جدا في الاول، كنت يعني اي موقف كنت ابكي واخاف منه، يعني ما كنتش كده خالص.
She was saying that I'm usually a weak person, and during any hardships I would cry, and I'm usually not as strong.
طبعا نزلت اول حاجة رفعت وشي للسماء بعد ما بصيت على البنات والمواقف اللي احنا فيها وصحراء حواليا.
I went down the stairs outside of the bus, and the first thing I did was I lifted my eyes up to heaven after I looked at what happened and that we're surrounded by desert.
وقلت له يا رب انت يعني قد كده بتحبنا يا ربي، وانت فعلا واقف معانا، ما كنتش اعرف ان هو المسيح معانا فعلا.
She said, God, you really love us and you took care of us, and I didn't know that it was Jesus that was with us for real.
فأول حاجة قلت له طب يا ربي أنت يعني أنا كده وضعتهم بين إيديك.
You put them in your hands, everyone that was martyred.
وأشكرك إن أنت خدتهم في عود الصعود.
I'm thankful that you took them in the feast of
واشكرك ان انت حافظت على بناتي دي، ما بهدلتناش في الصحراء الواسعه دي.
And thank you for taking care of all my daughters and not leaving us in the desert.
في المكان ده مفيش شبكه بتاتا، استحاله تيجي فيه شبكه.
In the place where all this happened, there is no cellular network at all. It's impossible to get any.
طبعا ابتدى يتصلوا مفيش خالص، فمرة سامح ابنه مرة تاني رغم مرة سامح مضروبة هنا وفي رجلها.
So the daughters, her son's wife, Samia and Hani, although they were injured, they were shot in the shoulder and
فمشوا مني.
they started walking.
راحوا الكمين.
It's like a police station, like a CHP's point basically, so they walked until they got there.
بس بتقول الضابط غيتنا ده ضرب نار وضربونا كلنا وحد يسعف تجينا، فزاد فيها ما خلاهاش يعني قال لها انت بتكذبي.
So after so they went and saw the police officer and they told her everything that happened, and he yelled at her and told her, "No, you're lying." He didn't believe her.
فعلا رماها على الرملة.
He threw her on the sand basically.
فطبعا من كتر النزيف تعبت، فنزلها بواحد وداها المستشفى.
She was bleeding and they ended up getting someone to take her to the hospital.
في الوقت ده مارينا بنت حفيدتي بتقول لي صلي معايا يا ماما، صلي معانا عشان الشبكة تيجي.
At that point, Marina, her granddaughter, was asking her to pray with her so that they get some cellular network on their phones.
فعلا بعد ما خلصنا أبانا الذي الشبكة جت.
After they finished praying our Father, instantly they got network on their phones.
السواق كلم الدير الرهبان جت.
The driver called the monastery and all the monks came.
وطبعا أهالينا جت قبل الإسعاف ما تيجي.
And their families were here before even the ambulance made it.
طبعا خدونا على مستشفى يعني مش حلوة خالص الأول.
They took him to a very bad hospital, like not well equipped.
فطبعا خدوا مارينا وبسنت، دول بنات يعني مارينا 17 سنة وبسنت 11 سنة.
They took Marina and Basant, they're 17 and 11 years old respectively.
فنورا بنت مش لاقية بناتها حواليها، ومنظر فظيع مخيف خالص، مش منظر مش حلو في المكان ده.
So she couldn't find any of her daughters and it was not a good sight to see basically around what happened.
فواحد كان دخل يقطع رجل مارينا بنت حفيدتي. ما نعرفوش.
Someone they don't know went and was about to cut her granddaughter's foot.
فربنا رزقها بدكتور اسمه كورولوس من نغاغة.
God gave her a doctor, his name is Carolus, from a town called Martyrs.
دخل عليه قال له بتعمل ايه؟ قال له راح طبعا حاشوا، فطبعا دخلوا الشباب بتاعتنا.
So he walked in right at the same time where he was about to cut her leg.
قالوا طبعا ضربوه وحاطينه من الشباك.
What are you doing? And he yelled at him, and at the same time family members came in and they pushed him out of the window.
طبعا جت الاسعاف بقى عشان تودينا معهد ناصر.
And then the ambulance came and they took him to a known hospital. It's called Mahad Nasir.
في مصر.
In Cairo, yeah.
طبعا بنتي نورا مش شايفة بناتها.
Noura, her daughter, couldn't find her.
فعمال تقول يا مالي جورجس خليك معايا.
So she kept praying, St. George, please stay with us.
فعلا ظهر لها مالي جورجس فبيكلمها بيقول لها انت بتعيطي ليه؟
St. George appeared to her and was talking to her and telling her, why are you crying?
فبتقول له مارينا وبسنت وبشوي انا مش لاقياهم.
She told him that I can't find my children, Marina, Basant, and Bishoy.
قالت طب اديني 5 دقايق وهقول لك عليهم واقفين دلوقتي.
So he told her, give me 5 minutes and I'll tell you right away where they're at.
فقالت ما كملش 5 دقايق وجاني.
In less than 5 minutes he came back.
قالت مش معقول ده ظابط يعني يكون حلو كده معايا وعطوف.
It's possible that there is a police officer that's really
لأن في
nice.
الأول هي مش عارفة، يعني مش عارفة هو مين الأول.
She thought St. George was a police officer. She didn't know it was him. So she was wondering, oh, it's impossible that there is a police officer that's being very nice right now.
فهو جه تاني قال لها بسنت كويسة ومارينا كويسة واطمني على بشوي.
He told her that Basant is doing well and so is Marina, and do not worry about Bishoy.
فهي عارفة إن بشوي راح السما خلاص لأني ساعتين ونص وإحنا في الباص.
She knew that Bishoy went to heaven already because they had already spent 2.5 hours in the bus and he was gone.
طبعا قعدنا شهر في المستشفى بتاع معهد ناصر وما كانوا كويسين معانا فعلا.
We spent a month at the hospital Mahad Nasser and they were really good to us.
في آخر حاجة نورة بنتي يعني قعدت فترة كبيرة، آخر واحدة طلعت أنا كنت معاها يعني.
The last one to leave the hospital was Nora, her daughter, and she was still with her.
فعملوا لها عملية ترجيع لأني كانت فيها 4 رصاصات، مارينا 4، بسنت 3، أنا 2، ولد أخويا كلنا مصابين كلنا.
Everyone got shot and had bullets. Marina had 4, Basant had 3, and Trump had 2.
بس صدقوني الرصاص ما بيوجعش صدقوني.
But believe me, the bullets don't hurt.
يعني كان ربنا زي ما يكون عطينا بنج وانا مش عارفه يعني كان عامل معانا ازاي. انا كنت منصبه ما كنتش حاسه باي الام ولا البنات ولا اي حد خالص.
It's as if God has numbed our bodies. We were shot and we didn't feel any pain.
طبعا اتعالجنا وكده، فنورة بنتي عملت عمليه ترجيح في الاخر.
We were all treated and Nora, her daughter, had a surgery.
فطبعا جانا دكتور يعالجها وكده بعد ما عملت العمليه، فبوظ لها العمليه لانه مش منا يعني.
She had a doctor that was treating her after the surgery and he ended up messing up the surgery.
فانا قلت له انت بوظت العمليه، قال لي انا ما قلت له انت بوظت العمليه.
So she confronted him and told him that you messed up the surgery, and he was trying to deny it, and she told him no, you didn't ruin the surgery.
فقعدت الليل كله اصلي انا وهي وكده، فالناس بتكلمني تقول جوزك عمل معايا معجزه كده، اولادك عملوا معجزه كده معايا والكلام ده، فانا بقيت الليل كله ان انا اصلي وانادي عليهم.
She spent the whole night praying.
لولادي وجوزي.
She was praying using the intercessions of her father and her husband, and all.
فانا عماله اقول يا بس انت تعالى لبنتك، بنتك متألمه وتعالى سامح وتعالى هنا، عماله انادي عليهم.
She was calling on them to come because his daughter, which is her daughter as well, was in pain as well as like for the other siblings to come and help.
فانا فعلا انا نايمه على السرير في المستشفى وشبه انا هنا في شقتي. انا كنت نايمه على السرير في المستشفى.
She was sleeping in bed in the hospital.
وجوزي طالع من اوضه النوم، من عادته يقوم من اوضه النوم يصلي. جوزي من عادته يقوم من اوضه النوم يصلي في الصلاه قدام صوره المسيح كده.
And it was a habit of her husbands to come out of the bedroom and to go pray in the living room. They had a picture of Jesus.
فالدكتور كان بيقول لي ده هتعمل عمليه تاني.
The doctor was telling her she'll have to undergo another surgery.
فطبعا انا زعلانه جدا، قلت له ما ينفعش نعمل عمليات تاني.
And she was very upset and told him, I don't want her to go through another surgery.
طبعا جاني الدكتور الاستشاري.
The specialist came to her.
فبيقول لي ايه اللي حصل؟ قلت له اللي حصل انت بعت لي دكتور بوظ العمليه.
So she told him the story that you sent another doctor that ruined the surgery that was done.
قال لي ازاي بوظها؟ انت واخده منه موقف ليه؟
So he asked her, how did he mess it up? Why are you so upset?
قلت له انا كنت اعرف عشان اخد منه موقف.
So she told him, I don't know, I didn't mean it.
قال انت هتعملي فتنه.
Right, I guess, yeah. So
يعني الدكتور مسلم، ده مسلم وده مسلم.
So because he was a Muslim doctor, he was telling her like, are you going to start a riot or something? Because
فانا قلت له ازاي بتقول الكلام ده؟ احنا سامحنا اللي ضربنا بالرصاص، مش هنسامح اللي بوظ العملية لبنتي.
So she told him, how can you say that? We forgave those who shot us. You don't think I will forgive someone who ruined the surgery?
طبعا قلت له خلاص كده يعني قال هنعمل عملية، قلت له لا مش هنعمل عملية.
So the specialist was asking her, so are you okay to go through with this surgery again for our daughter? And she told him, no, we're not doing another surgery.
فلما لقاني بتكلم معاه بجراءة.
So when she was talking, she was bravely talking to him.
قال لي على فكرة أنا صاحبي البابا توادرس وبحضر معاه اجتماعات والكلام ده.
So he told her, you know, I'm a friend of Pope Tuadros and I always attend his meetings.
وأنا بحبه، قلت له إحنا بنحبكوا برضه.
And that I love him, so she told him, we love you too.
طبعا قال نفك العملية ونشوفها.
So he told her, let's remove the stitches and we'll see what happened.
حل بيبص على الجرح لقيت الربعة اللي هم حاطينها بعد ما كانت الأول نازلة خالص كده، لقيتها طلعت لفوق يعني كان طبيعي.
So when they removed the stitches and they were looking at the wound, everything looked completely normal. Before it looked like it was messed up.
بيقول لي العملية حلوة ازاي بتقول انها باظت؟ قلت له مش ايديك اللي صلحتها.
So he told her, here, look at it. Everything looks fine. Why are you saying it's messed up? So she told him it's not your hands that fixed it.
قلت له الشهداء والقديسين اللي بايتين نصلي لهم وهم اللي صلحوا العملية.
The martyrs and the saints that we were praying for all last night are the ones who fixed the surgery.
فقال لي ما انا عارف ان انتوا عندكم حاجات حلوة.
So he told her, we know that you have some really good things.
فربنا واقف معايا كتير صدقوني ومحبته معايا فايضة عليا كتير
God stood by me a lot, believe me, and that His love is overpouring.
وانا بشوفهم كتير في السماء وعندنا في البلد بيشوفوا الحمام.
I see them a lot in heaven, and back in their town, they see pigeons, white, like the white doves, all around.
وانا فرحانة ان انا وصلتهم لأنه هو عايزهم في الوقت ده.
And I'm happy that I was able to get them there because God wanted them at that time.
قبل ما يحصل أي حاجة أنا كنت متخيلة إن هم هيلبسوا الأكاليل دي وهشوفهم.
Before anything happened, I always imagined that they will be crowned and I'll get to see them.
فنحن ما نخافش من أي حد يهددنا لأن إحنا عندنا إله قوي.
So we shouldn't fear anyone who threatens us because we have a very strong God.
نصلي أكتر ونثبت فيه أكتر، ما فيش أي حاجة تهزنا.
We should pray more and stick to Him more. Nothing should shake us.
لأننا إحنا أولاد الملك.
Because we are the children of the King.
واللي عملوا كده صدقوني انا سامحتهم ما دعتش عليهم وربنا عطاني قوه جامده وعطاني فرح في قلبي ما تخيلوش.
And those who did that, I was not upset of them. I forgave them, and God gave me a lot of love in my heart.
وصدقوني احنا ما خفناش، كان عندنا سلام جامد في قلبنا.
And believe me, we were not scared, and we had a lot of peace in our hearts.
لأن المسيح كان معنا فعلا.
Because Jesus was with us for real.
والعادة زورت 3 مرات في المعهد ناصر.
And Saint Mary appeared 3 times at Mahad Nasr, the hospital where everyone was getting treated.
والأول مرة يتعمل قداس اتعملنا 3 مرات. اتعمل قداس 3 مرات في معهد ناصر.
And we had 3 liturgies that were done at the same hospital, which was the first time for something like this to ever happen.
طبعا الأنبا بسيولي جالي المستشفى برضه بتاع 4 مرات اللي هو رئيس دير الأنبا صمويل.
And Amba Basili, the father of the St. Samuel Monastery, visited them 4 times as well.
فبيوريني صورة مصورها على الموبايل والكنيسة اللي هي في دير الأنبا صمويل.
He showed her a picture on his cell phone of the church at St. Samuel Monastery.
بالشهداء كده برسمة الصليب جايبة صورة مع أختي يعني.
You have the picture.
بس ما جابتهاش نسيتها في بالي.
She didn't show us the picture, but they forgot it.
فبيقول لي شوفي يا ماما لما لقاني كده بيقول لي يا ماما أنت ما تزعليش.
He was telling her mother, like, don't be sad.
ده هما دلوقتي في مكانة عالية.
They are in a very high position right now.
قال أنا بتعب الجبل وبتمنى الموتة بتاعتهم دي.
I pray in the mountain all the time, and I wish to die, like die.
فبيوروني الكنيسة،
He showed her the church.
بيقول الكنيسة دي مبنية من 12 سنة
He said the church was built 12 years ago
باسم الشهداء،
in the name of the martyrs,
وقدامها 28 نخلة.
and it has 28 palm trees in front of it.
فبيقولوا له يعني في صور كده محطوطة، فناقص صورتين يتحطوا يكملوا الأيقونة. الرهبان بيقولوا قبل الاستشهاد، يعني قبل الاستشهاد بيقولوا يا أبانا عايزين نكمل الأيقونة، نحط الصورتين، نحط الأنبا صمويل وصورة المسيح.
They were trying to finish all the icons in that church, and they wanted to put a picture of
نحط صورة المسيح وصورة الأنبا صمويل، نكمل الأيقونة.
a picture of Jesus and a picture and an icon of Saint Samuel.
قال نحط صورة المسيح وفي شهداء جايين.
So he told them we'll put the icon of Jesus and that there is another icon that's coming for the martyrs, and that was
قبل الحادثة يعني.
and that this conversation they had before even this accident happened.
فبعدها بشوية بقى طبعا الاتصال جاهم بتاع الحادثة، قالوا يبقى هي كده لا يكون كوملت.
And after all what happened with the bus and the shooting, then he told them, well, now the icon is ready because of all the martyrs.
ففعلا ابتدى ينظف الكنيسة.
They started cleaning the church.
وهم بينظفوا لقى صورة تحت الهيكل، صورة الشهداء.
As they were cleaning, they found a picture under the altar, a picture of all the martyrs.
فقالوا خلاص يبقى هو الكلام سيدنا، يبقى هو من السواح وهو كان عارف أحسن منا.
So they said, since they found that icon, that the embo is from the hermits, yeah, and that he knew that this was going to happen.
فقال لي هو كده يعني هم وصلوا، واللي هم ال 28 نخلة ب 28 شهيد اللي هم راحوا السنة.
And the 28 palm trees that were in front of the church are for the 28 martyrs that repose in the Lord.
فأنا فخورة صدقوني، أنا فرحانة خالص. أيوة بيجيني وقت إن أنا أبكي على الفراق وأزعل، بس أنا مش زعلانة من ربنا اللي لمه في حضنه فعلا.
I'm very proud and joyful. Yes, I do have times where I will cry because I physically miss them around, but I know that they're in a better place and that they're in God's arms right now.
لأنه هو حافظ على جوزي، ما بهدلنيش، ما ماتش هنا. أنا كنت خايفة لا يموت هنا واتبهدل لأن أنا كنت لوحدي.
She was worried that her husband might pass away here in the United States and she was alone, but God didn't do that to her, and he took him at the right time.
فهو استنى علينا لما احنا نزلنا وشفنا الحبايب ولم الحبايب معاه وسافر بيهم.
They were happy because they got to go to Egypt, and after he met the family and saw everyone, he took them and traveled to heaven basically.
وحافظ على هاني ابنك، عمل حادثة قبل كده وسابح مقعد من فوق في الشغل، يعني كان قادر ان هو يروح فيها وكده، بس ربنا يبقى شايل لهم حاجة حلوة. يعني أنا فخورة صدقوني.
Her children also had so many different accidents. One of her sons fell while he was working from a building.
بيشتغل في شركة.
He was working at a company and he fell, and also one of her other children had a car accident. But God took care of them in those times, and he was saving something better for them.
فأشكر ربنا. أولادنا دلوقتي في مصر، نورة دي كانت من النوع اللي هي خجولة جدا.
Nora, my daughter, was a very shy person by nature.
دلوقتي بعد الاستشهاد جالها جرى إن هي بتدور تخدم دلوقتي.
After the martyrdom of everyone, she's very brave and she goes everywhere serving now.
بتروح لإخوة الرب والناس المرضى، وتروح لدار الأيتام
and the poor and the orphans.
فبتقول لي يا ماما أنا ناس بتجيلي ستات كبيرة في السن كده بتجيلي تقول لي باباكي كان بيجيني ويديني، وكان يعني كلام كده ما كنتش أعرف أنا خالص.
older women come to her and tell her that her dad comes to them and talks to them, and that's stuff that they didn't know about before.
فصدقوني وانا هنا هو في شغله كان شغال في كوافير.
When I was here, he was working at a hairdresser.
كان يجي كل ليله يقول لي يرزق ربنا بتبس، يقول له خدي ليكي وللكنيسه. كان لما هو شغال في كوافير فيرزق بتبس كل يوم، كان يجي يقول له خدي ليكي دي ودي للكنيسه.
Every time he came home after work, the tips he would give some to her and then tells her the rest of it for the church.
وطبعا اخر الشهر اللي يديه له ربنا كان يديه برضه.
And at the end of the month, when he gets his salary, like most of the money would still go to the church.
كان لما يوم ما يجيلوش كان تاني يوم يديله يقول لي خد بتاع امبارح والنهارده.
If he didn't get tips one day, the second day, and when he gets the tips, he would give her the double for yesterday and the day before to take it to the church.
سامي ابني كان خادم في الكنيسه.
Sam, her son, was a servant at the church.
كان يجري طقطق هناك طقطق في مصر زي ما انت عارفين. كان يلم الاطفال، ابونا يقول له خد، يقول له لا ما سيبني انا عايز اعمل اي حاجه.
He used to drive the kids to church on a tuk-tuk. It's like a mini, like a motorcycle with 3 wheels. And Abuja would try to give him, the priest there would try to give him money, and he would say no. He wouldn't take it.
فقبل ما يسافر يجينا البلد، يعني واحنا قبل ما نطلع الرحله.
Before they went on that trip to the monastery.
فاللي هم بيخدموا معاه قالوا ده جه ورانا كل حاجه، وزي اللي هو هيسافر مش هيرجع تاني، عرفنا على الخدمه والدولاب دي في كذا ودي كذا وعرفنا.
And all the servants at the church said that Samia, before he went on that trip, he showed them everything related to his service, like where everything is, what cabinet is this for, as if he was traveling and never coming back again.
وهاني ابني برضه اليوم اللي هو يعني كان الاجازه بتاعته السبت والجمعه والسبت.
My son Annie has his days off Friday and Saturday.
ففي الشركه يقول لك اليوم ده طبعا هو متعود ان هو بيقعد اليومين دول في البيت.
He's used to be at home those 2 days for the weekend.
فالمهندس بتاعه جاي عازمني وزمايله عند في شقته في مصر.
So his co-workers came to pay the respects.
قال جه لف على المكاتب كلها سلم علينا وحضرنا.
So they were telling her that the last day of his work, he went to everyone around their offices and said hi and hugged them.
بيقول له طب انت بتسلم علينا لنا راضي السلام الغرض، انت تسافر مع ابوك امريكا يا هاني.
So they were actually wondering, they were asking him, why are you like saying your goodbyes and hugging everyone? Are you going back to the States with your father?
فقال لهم لا انا مش هسافر بس انتوا هتوحشوني.
So he told them, no, I'm not traveling, but I'm gonna miss you.
فاشكر ربنا هم سابوا بصمه حلوه خالص.
So I'm very thankful that they left a very good footprint.
هاني هو طفل كنت بنطلع رحلات.
And when he was a child, we used to go on trips.
فمش فاكره دير الأنبا بطونس المبولة او دير المحرق حاجه زي كده.
One of the monasteries, either St. Paul and St. Anthony or Deir al-Hara.
فهو كان على باطي. هاني كان على باطي، كان صغير.
He was still a baby, so she was holding him.
فكان في اب رهب كبير قوي الناس بتاخد منه بركه. اب رهب الناس بتاخد منه بركه في الدين.
There was one of the elder monk, yes.
فهو خد مني هاني.
So he took Hanny from him.
فالراجل اللي معانا بتاع الباص عايز يمشي، فابونا الراهب شايله وعمال يطبطب عليه ويرسم على الصليب بدماغه.
So the driver for the bus wanted to leave. It was the end of the trip, but the elder monk was holding Hanny and kept on like patting him on the back and doing the sign of the cross.
فالناس بقت تقول الواد ده خد البركه كلها.
So everyone was telling her this kid took all the blessings from the elder monk.
وانا عايز اخده منه عشان مقربين عايزين نمشي.
And she wanted to take him so they can get on the bus and leave.
فبدل ما كنا نقول ده هاني لا يبقى راهب لا يبقى ابو كاهن، واحنا هو لسه صغير يعني.
So we always said that Hanny is either going to be a monk or a priest because of this.
فطبعا هو الجوز بس هم كانوا عايشين يعني نشكر ربنا في مخافه ربنا الحمد لله.
He ended up getting married, but they lived in the fear of God.
فأنا بطلب منكم الصلاة بقوة، ما تسيبوش المسيح أكتر يعني في أي دقيقة ما تسيبوش.
So I ask of you to pray all the time and not let your eyesight away from God.
إن جانا أي موقف ما يهزناش ولا يخلينا نسيب المسيح أبدا.
And whatever situation we might end up in, don't let it ever shake you or lead you to leave Jesus.
وربنا يبارك أولادكم ويعيشكم في مخافة ربنا. وأنا سعيدة جدا جدا إن أنا شفتكم وشفت أبونا وأترحب بكم وأنا بحبكم جدا جدا جدا.
And may God bless you all and your children, and may they live the life in the fear of God. And then I'm very happy that I got to see you all and see Abuna and everyone else.
وشكرا للاستدعاء العظيم ده، يعني ساعدوني وخلتوني أشوف الناس الحلوين دول.
And I'm thanking you for honoring me and bringing me here and seeing
وربنا
everyone.
يعوض تعب محبتك اللي أنت جيت وخدتنا.
That's for you.
شكرا لمحبتكم وكل سنة وأنتم طيبين يا حبايبي.
Thank you everyone.
Does anybody have any last minute questions for Samia? Okay, Samia.
She mentioned about her husband that he got out of the bus. He was injured by the truck when he just died because of the stress and the other stuff happened to him.
انت حضرتك عرفتي ازاي ان هو المسيح اللي كان على الباص؟
عرفنا ازاي بقى؟
I'm sorry, I was asking if how did she know that it was Jesus that was on the bus?
معلش انا هقول لك اهو عشان انا برضو يعني الدماغ طبعا مرسال ابني لما هو جالها وطبطب عليها فبيقول لها ما تخافيش احنا مش عارفين قلنا واحد.
One second, so she can translate.
So when someone came and was patting her daughter on the back, they didn't know who he was.
فلما رحنا المستشفى
When we went to the hospital,
فجايين خدام من كنيسة مش عارفة كنيسة ايه يعني في مصر نفسها.
some servants came to visit from a church in Cairo.
فجايبين صورة بتاع المسيح يعني صورة قديمة فمطلعين عليها نسخة فرق وزع علينا كلنا.
They came with like smaller pictures of Jesus, like many copies, and they gave it to all of them.
فلما راح عند سهام مرسالة ابني بتقول لهم الصورة دي هو ده اللي أنا شفته في الباص.
So when she saw the picture of Jesus, she told them, "This is the person that I saw on the bus."
فبيقولها ازاي؟ قالت له هو ده اللي أنا شفته في الباص.
So they said how, so that she told them, "This is the same person that I saw on the bus, the one who told her to give them any money or gold and not to."
طبعا مارينا برضه قالت هو ده اللي أنا شفته في الباص.
And Marina said the same thing as well.
فهي قالت لها مش ما كنتش مركزة في شعر، أنا كنت مركزة في الوش بس.
So she said she wasn't paying attention to his hair, but she just paid attention to his face.
وأنا فعلا كنت بقول لهم ده واحد ربنا عطاله نعمة فهو يعني كان طيب معانا شوية فأنا ما كنتش أعرف إن هو المسيح.
So she said she also thought before that this was someone who had the grace of God in him, and she didn't know that he was Jesus, but she thought he was really nice to them.
فبعد في تاني يوم يعني بعدها بيومين كده فجاء ناس برضه من كنيسة مش عارفة الكنيسة أنا بنسى بصراحة فجايين خدام برضه جايين يزورونا يعني.
In a few days, another set of servants came to visit from another church.
فجايبين لنا فيديو بتاع واحدة ست من البلية يعني متابعة أسيوط.
They brought a video of a lady from Asyut.
وليها كبيرة جوه في السن كده. وليها كبيرة قوي.
She was an elder lady.
فيوم الجمعة في أثناء الحادثة رحت الكنيسة. هي في الكنيسة بتاعتهم يعني احنا ما نعرفهاش.
So she went on Friday to her church.
فهي أغمى عليها بعد ما سلمت على أبونا.
She fainted after she got Abuna's blessing.
هما جايبينها وهي بتحكي.
So she was telling the story on a video.
ممكن يا سلوى عندك تبعتها لأخونا والباقي يوراها. فبتقول لهم أنا حلمت حلم قبل ما يعرفوا إن في أي حاجة.
So she was telling the story that she had a dream before she knew what went on.
بتقول ان انا شايفه بص وشايفه ارهاب بيضربوا في الناس.
That she saw a bus and she saw terrorists shooting at everyone.
وشايفه المسيح واقف على الاطفال وبيشاور عليهم كده.
And she saw Jesus standing and he had his hands on top of all the children and just like moving it around.
وبيقول الارهاب انتوا مش فاهميني، انتوا طرش يا ويلكم مني.
So he was telling the terrorists, don't you understand me? Are you deaf? Wow for you. Yeah. Wow for you.
فجابوا لنا الست دي فبيقولوا نطقوا الشهاده، قالوا لا احنا ديننا ما يسمحش ان احنا ننطق الشهاده.
So they asked them to say there's an Islamic phrase that make like.
فهم ما ينكروش المسيح فدوروا ضرب فيهم.
So they didn't want to say it, and then that's why they started shooting everyone.
ففعلا كان معانا المسيح فعلا.
So for sure we know we had Jesus with us.
رغم جوليا بنت اخويا انا 7 سنين.
Although Julia,
بنت اخويا انا كنت الشهيد بشوي.
my niece is 7 years old.
فبيقول لها قول الشهاده، هي بيقول لنا قول الشهايد، مش عارفه تتكلم يعني.
So she doesn't even talk that well yet, and they were telling her to say the same Islamic phrase, and she was just repeating the same question. She didn't even know like what they were.
قالت له احنا ما نعرفش الشهايد بتاعتكم، احنا نعرف نقول ابانا الذي.
So she told them, I don't know what you're asking me to say. I only know how to say our Father.
فابتدى لما قدرت تخلص على مشوش خدها تحتيه.
So when they started shooting at Bishoy, he took her under him.
بس هم يشكر على اللي عملوه معانا صدقوني، يعني وصلوا اولادي نشكر ربنا.
So she's thanking the terrorists for what they did because they led her kids to heaven.
فده يدل ان احنا نتمسك بالمسيح اكتر واكتر.
And that's why we should stay more with Jesus and cling to him more.
ونشجع اولادنا ان هم يثبتوا في المسيح ويصلوا ونجيلهم اي موقف يخوفهم ما يخافوش.
And we should encourage our children to stay with Christ and pray to him, and that whatever situation they may face, they shouldn't fear.
والمسيح معاكم ويحفظكم ويرعاكم كلكم.
And Jesus is with you all. May he strengthen you.
شكرا لك انت فكرتني حبيبي.
Thank you for asking the question.
I think we had one more hand up, but just for the sake of time, ممكن تقعدي بعد ما نصلي بس لو حد عنده أسئلة. So I just asked permission if she would be willing to stay. So if Natalie, if you have any questions or anybody has a question like one-on-one, please come up. That's just so we don't hold everybody here. And on your behalf, a small gift for Samia, and it's more of something that we need to remember for ourselves. It's in Arabic though, but it's the verse that says, "Do not fear those who kill the body but have nothing else to do after that." I mean, so she's a living example. She doesn't need it, but it's for us. But it's a little icon with that verse on it. You're welcome.
ففعلا هي بعتت لي من
شافتها مش رؤية ولا حاجة.
شافتها وابنها كان موجود، انا معايا الفيديو ده هنا على التليفون، ده شافتهم وابنها كان معانا في نفس الوقت اللي هم
For those who don't understand, she's saying a good friend of her who lives here in the States at the very same time of the martyrdom there, so they saw something weird and they couldn't explain. They saw lights and things going up to heaven and they couldn't make sense of it, so they videotaped it. And Selwa is Samia's youngest sister. She videotaped it and she sent it to her. So she has the video for whoever wants to see it afterwards. But it's... what's it? We pray, yes, let's pray. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, one God, amen. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for the chance to be here at church, for blessing us with this wonderful visit of Masudi Samia. We thank you, Lord, for comforting her. We thank you for giving us the chance and the blessing to be in her company and to hear the story of our brothers and our little children that gave up their life for you. Lord, we pray that you help us also to put you first and foremost in our lives and not to lose sight of you, and to strengthen us in our daily walk and give us peace and grace always. Hear us in the session of your Holy Mother, the ever Virgin, the faithful Saint Mary, and all the saints as we pray, thank you, saying, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come. On earth as it is in heaven, give us this day our daily bread, forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Through Christ Jesus our Lord, for thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, and the fullness of the Holy Spirit. And now, the love of God the Father, the grace of the Holy Spirit, and the gift of the Holy Spirit, be with you all. Go in peace in the peace of God be with you.